this is a kind of the presentation that's gotten a lot better because I've tweaked it and added over the years. But this is the core presentation that I used to give even when I was in your seat as an agency owner, selling to other businesses. Okay. So this really worked well in establishing me as the expert, because I was educating them about some dynamics that they probably weren't necessarily 100% clued in on, and then teaching them a little bit about getting them in the right mindset, which is that first slide here we'll go through in a second. Just getting them in the right mindset, which is why I have it as the first slide, giving them some statistics and just laying the foundation for why search and why focus on Google, and then why SEO is important, because for us, SEO was always the main revenue driver for both us as an agency and for our clients as a business. Like when we got them ranking, they got way more business than if we were just doing a killer PPC campaign for them.
Gotcha.
So yeah. I demonstrate and show them why that's the case, why SEO is important. And then we just got into really quickly explaining, well, all right, if SEO is so important and this is going to really fundamentally impact your business, then a little bit on the high level, how are we going to make that happen? Like, what are some of the nuts and bolts of how we get you ranking on page one? Okay,
love it. That's
a quick flow of the overall slide deck. I've just added more to it through the years. So
okay. Yeah.
So this first is really all about mindset. So, and I usually am, in slideshow mode, and I'm going through it like this, right? So, if you want to grow and scale your business, so, I would start off by asking them, if I didn't already know this, like, so, Mr. Prospect, do you want to grow your business? Are you satisfied with where you're at? No, we definitely want to grow. All right, well, what are you currently doing, gross revenue wise today? And what do you want to grow it to? Well, we're currently doing $1 million in revenue. We want to grow it to 2. All right. And in what time frame are you looking to go from 1 to 2 million? We're talking about doubling your business, right? Just because they say that a lot of times. I hear that all the time. I'm going to go from 1 to 2 million. Okay. We go double your business. Okay. So, but having them say that is already going to get them into this first point. So the only way that you are going to grow your business from what it is today to whatever you want to do tomorrow is going to require an investment in marketing. The only way you're going to drive more prospects into your funnel is through doing more marketing and are doing better with the current marketing budget, but it almost always requires a bigger budget. Like, you don't think we're going to go from $1 million a year to $2 million a year, spending the same amount of money that got us to $1 million a year, right?
Right.
Okay, so you're already doing it. So you're nodding your head, right? So that.
Absolutely, yeah.
You're already agreeing with me. You're already saying, yes, I know I'm going to have to pull out my pocketbook and invest, because it just makes logical sense. But that mindset just opens it up for the rest, right? So, all right. So if we're going to grow your company, then we've got to drive top of funnel prospects. Like, we've got to bring more into the funnel, right? Because whatever you're doing today with whatever's getting in the funnel is resulting in $1 million a year. But if we want to go to $1.2 million and then $1.5 million and then $1.7 million and 2, then we're going to have to start growing the amount of prospects that are coming into the funnel at the top, right? And then if we have more prospects coming in, just given your same conversion rates, we're going to have more business coming out the bottom of the funnel, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So if we want to bring in more top of funnel prospects, then we just got to increase your visibility. And the reason that we're talking today is because I did some very simple searches about the keywords for your target market in your local area, and you're not very visible. And so you tell me you're doing $1 million a year today with whatever has gotten you there. And I'm saying the good thing is that we can get you there because you're not very visible online. It means there's a lot of opportunity to change that, right? So how do we drive demand through increased visibility? Well, it's simply going where your prospects are. And over 90% of the market's on Google search. That's why I'm talking to you, because I went to Google search, looked for companies like you, and you're on page 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yet you're still doing $1 million a year in business, which is great. That's a success story. But 90% of your market's on Google search, man. So if you're not visible on page 1, then you're missing every single opportunity or prospect, every single one of them. Like, they're all going to your competition. And oftentimes that's where I just go right out here and I go, all right, you're in the Villages, Florida. All right. So, and I usually will use this. I use this GS location finder Chrome extension.
Okay.
And so I can say, no, I'm actually in Austin, Texas. and then geocode. And now if I go to, what's your niche?
Let's say contractors.
All right, so home
builder.
remodelers
Yeah.
near me, right? And you'll see down here that Google thinks I'm in Austin, Texas, because I am in Austin, Texas, according to where my browser is set. So,
Right.
so I went to, I just simply went to home remodelers near me. I know you're in Austin, Texas, so I set my browser location in Austin, Texas, and you're not here. These are not, this is not you, right? No, you know any of these guys? Yeah, I know Rockin'. In fact, I've had beers with that guy, and I'm like, so you're not on page one here. And then what if I do home remodeling companies, Austin, Texas? So sometimes they'll do a search like that. Is this your company? No, you're not there, right? So that's why we're talking. And so all of the opportunities are going to these three guys and not coming to you. And so if we want to scale your business, we've got to dominate Google search, because 90% of your market is right there when they're looking for, home remodeling companies. And so if we want to dominate the Google search results, okay, then we have to understand what makes up the Google search results. And so if we go back here and we understand, we've got ads on top, we've got map results in the middle, and then we've got what we call organic results below. And then if we go way down, sometimes we'll still see another ad or two, right? So this is a very typical SERP, which we call a search engine result page. So that's just, SERP stands for search engine result page. This is a very common SERP result. And so if we want to dominate the search results, where in Google, where 90% of your market is, then we simply have to dominate in PPC and SEO, because that's what makes up a search engine result page, is ads, and then appearing here, and appearing here is a function of SEO, what we call search engine optimization or web presence. Okay, so to optimize your brand profile for the search engine result pages, we need to optimize the signals for and around your brand, and then start building more authority, more brand assets and signals for Google to find around your company. And that's why you're not showing up here, is because the signals around your company are very weak, especially as compared to your competitors in the space, who are currently recognized as the authorities in terms of home remodeling. So if you want to be known as the authority in Austin, Texas, as the home remodeling contractor to go to, then we need to build a better brand. We need to build more signals around your brand and really start to position you as the authority company or authority brand in the space. Okay, so why do we optimize for Google search first? Is because everyone's reliant on Google. And I've got several slides here just to kind of show you and demonstrate to you why Google, right? Because this is where 90 to 95% of all search market is. And we can go through several different statistics. Here you got 87%. Here you basically got 70 plus 21, because that's Google Images. And then you got YouTube. So you got basically 93% here. This source says, well, 87% of search market for Google. This search market says 92%, or sorry, data provider says 92. But whether we're talking about 87% or 93% of the market, we can all agree that the majority of the market is going to Google to search. So if we're not optimized for Google, then why do we even pay attention to Bing or Yahoo or Yelp or anything else? Because they're only fighting for the remaining 10 to 7%. Yeah. So if we're going to focus on the elephant in the room, which is Google, then we got to optimize for them first. And then once we're like really capitalizing all of the different keywords here, and we're getting all of these opportunities here, or at least a substantial amount of them, because you're on page one, then we can start to worry about places like Yelp or Bing or whatever. But let's focus on Google first, because you're not even optimized there. Okay. So what is SEO and why is it important? Well, it's important, Mr. Prospect, because it's going to fundamentally transform your business. You said you want to go from 1 million to 2 million. And I can assure you that the way to do that is to start showing up in searches on page one, because no one goes to like more businesses. Like they find an option here or two or three, they make the phone call, and then it's up to whoever answers their phone and has the best, basically conversion funnel at that point in terms of whether or not they're going to, convert that customer. But the customers are staying on page one. They do not go to page two. So until you get to page one, it's not going to make hardly any difference. But once you get to page one in one of these three results, 60 to 70% of all searchers are going to call 1 to 3 of these people here and then make their buying decision. So we can do a really, really good PPC campaign. And yes, we can do that for you. And yes, we can get you up here. But the majority of people go past those paid results and go down here. Now, let me ask you, Mr. Prospect, when you go to Google and search, do you click on the ads or do you scroll down a little bit and click on anything here or here? What do you do?
Well, I would certainly get one of the three, the map pack, certainly.
Yeah. And that's what the majority of people do. And that the data just fleshes that out, right? Yes, some people are going to click here. And yes, some people are going to click here. And this is kind of how it looks here. But what's going to transform your business, what will double your business in 1 to 2 years, is a strategy to get you here for all of the different keywords related to home remodelers in and around the Austin, Texas regional area where you serve. So, and you're nowhere to be found. And I say you're on pages 2 and beyond for all of the keywords essentially around your business in Austin, Texas. Your competitors are kicking your ass. Now, I say that nicely because you've got a very successful business at $1 million a year already. But if you want to double, then it's time to change this dynamic, because right now they're getting all of the opportunities. And I rub this in, right? Why? Because every business owner who's worth their salt and really does want to grow, if they're not just saying it, they hate this. They don't like their competitors kicking their ass. It is a competitive thing, right? So don't be afraid to really emphasize that dynamic, pick at that scab, because it's real and they can see it. You can't argue. I can go and do what other keywords? Bathroom remodelers, okay? If I can spell it, bathroom remodel. Rockin' remodeling. I mean, they're kicking your ass, dude. Let's do what we'll do. Kitchen. Rockin' remodeling. I mean, these three are just there. So until we change, when we change this dynamic, now I'm speaking right. When we change this dynamic, you're going to be getting some of these opportunities, and we're not talking about $5,000 opportunities. We're talking about $20,000, $50,000, $100,000 opportunities here, and they're getting all of them right now. And the only way we're gonna flip this is by optimizing your brand, your company for searches. We can pay to get you here, and we can have you here next week if you have the budget. But if you don't have a larger budget, then you need to skip this, because just to play here, you need $4 to $5 grand a month. Okay, we can start to do an optimization strategy for you starting at $2,000 a month, whatever your base package is going to be, whatever you want, right? Yeah. But getting you here is going to be the key. And so SEO is the process of optimizing a brand's web presence to show up on page 1 in search, because page 1 is the only place that matters. And it is a process. It is not an event. We don't place you here like we do in PPC. I can place you here almost as an event, probably starting next week if you have the budget. Getting you here is going to be a process, because we've got to demonstrate the authority of your brand over time. You don't become an authority online, just like you don't become an expert remodeler as an event. You didn't go to school and become an expert remodeler. Over time, you got better and better as an authority in the space. And Google is much like that. We got to train the algorithm and teach the algorithm that you are an authority. And we're going to do that through generating signals and applying a methodology to that. So what's the methodology? Well, number one, we're going to get good keyword and intelligence on your competitors first. We're going to research the keywords. We're going to research the competitors. We're going to figure out why is Rockin' Remodeling doing so well. And then we can reverse engineer much of their success. But we're going to do the research so we can actually see what we're going to do. Then we're going to start to execute, and we're going to start to optimize your website. We're going to optimize your Google listing. And those are more kind of one-time events, although if you have a bigger website, sometimes that can be a longer process. But we'll tackle a lot of this step 2 in the first month. But then once we've kind of got your website sort of, optimized, at least a few good pages on it, and your Google listing optimized, then we're going to go into a kind of a repetitive process, month in and month out, of generating quality content, authoring quality content for your company, your brand, teaching both your customers and the algorithm what you do: home remodeling, kitchen remodeling, bathroom remodeling, and using keywords and other words that are commonly used in the industry and that we know that Google recognizes. And that constant content generation, and then the syndication and distribution of that content everywhere we possibly can, is going to get that content out there where Google can find it. And then we're going to also use the content in strategic ways to generate signals for you. Yes, that includes link building, but it goes far beyond just, what used to be link building all onto itself. Today, the algorithm is looking for all sorts of signals. It can see your social, and actually, let me show you here. So, we can go here, and I'll skip ahead real quick to one slide. We can see that the algorithm is looking for signals. When you get a review, that's an authority signal. That tells the algorithm that this is a live company getting a real review from a real verified person, right? And so review signals are important. Link signals are important. Signals within and around your Google listing are incredibly important if we want to get you here in that map pack, right? So we've got to generate signals in multiple categories around your company, your brand, its related website, its related Google listing, and we're going to do that month over month. Remember, I said it's a process, not an event. And by doing this month over month and generating signals, we're going to start to overtake the people online that you're behind, or that are ahead of you right now. And so ultimately, we do have to figure out what Rocket Remodeling is doing, because if you want to displace Rocket Remodeling and get to page one and kick them off, then we are going to have to outpace what they're doing and maybe outsmart what they're doing and figure that out. So you do have competition that is not standing still, because the amount of each lead that they get is worth so much money. It pays tenfold to invest in this strategy. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I'm starting to get the picture here.
Yeah. So what we're going to be doing in short is we're just going to put some focus on your website. Your website is the hub of everything that you do online. Google looks at it as the hub. So your website's weak. Let me just be honest with you. One of the big reasons why you're on page 2 or 4 or 10, wherever it is today for any given keyword, is because there's weaknesses in your website. We're going to shore up those weaknesses. We're going to fix those weaknesses, especially in month one. We'll continue to work and improve the website over time. But you have to understand that your website is the hub. And if that's weak, it's like having a weak foundation in your house. So we're going to shore that foundation up. And then we're going to start to really just orient your business according to Google search. And we know that Google is looking for content, and it's looking for information. And honestly, if we look at your website, it hasn't had any real content updates in many, many months, right? And Google's got an entire system in their algorithm called the freshness update, or the freshness algorithm. And it's simply an algorithm that runs looking for fresh content. And so one of the reasons why your website's weak is because there's just no ongoing content there. It's just, an article here, and then there maybe 3 or 6 or 12 months go by without any more content there. There's nothing fresh there, and Google's not coming back to your site on a frequent basis because there's no fresh content there. So one of the things we're going to solve about this is we're going to be adding fresh content every single month. And that's why through that process of adding fresh content month over month, we're going to start to generate signals in a very strategic way that are going to start to help build your authority as a website, as a brand, and also related to your Google listing. Okay. So again, I talked about signals, and we're going to generate signals in multiple categories around your brand, your Google listing, and your website. Part of what we're going to do is we're going to get your content on authoritative sites. We're going to borrow on or hijack the authority of other sites and bring that authority over to your website. And one of the ways that we do that is we use authorship, and we use digital PR to build authorship and trust and and expertise. So we're going to take that fresh content that we're generating every month for you. We're going to author it using your name, your company name. Your company's going to get the benefit or the authorship credit for this content. And then we're going to get you published on authoritative news sites. And because we're going to leverage the power of Google News. Google loves news. Remember, I said fresh. News is the most fresh type of content that you can get online. It's constantly changing. And so Google loves news because it's always fresh. And we're going to start inserting you into news and start positioning you as an authority using digital PR as a strategy. And that's going to help do a couple of different things. We're going to start positioning you as the expert. You're going to start building authority. It's going to start helping get trust because we're going to have links on trustworthy sites pointing to your site. And then for your customers, they're going to start to be able to see you as an expert, as an authority, because of the way that we write the content. We're going to really very methodically position you as the go-to expert for all things remodeling in Austin, Texas. And so we're going to use digital PR as an overarching strategy to accomplish that end. Okay. We're going to install a very sophisticated media room on your website. And there's competitors who are charging over $15,000 per year just to have a media room because it's so sophisticated. It leverages Google News, and we've got our own custom software that will be integrated into your website that'll install basically a media room that's connected to news sites and Google News sites. And so that's one of the things that we'll do that's unique about us and the strategy and how we do this. Okay. So ultimately, it's a really confusing landscape out there. There's all sorts of other agencies. There's all sorts of tools. You got Yelp calling you, Google calling you, people from India calling you, all these different tools and commercials out there advertising this software and that solution and that marketing company and whatever. I know it's a very confusing landscape. The bottom line is this is what I do for a living. This is what our company does for a living. We know this landscape very well. Instead of you having to try and figure out of all these thousands and thousands of different options out there, what works and what doesn't work, what's going to move the needle, what won't, and experimenting with all that. That's why an agency like ours has relevance with a company like yours. You pay us to know what works and what doesn't work. We know what it's going to take to get you to page one. And this, when we get you there, this will absolutely transform your business. And the great news is that right now you've got 3 or 4 competitors who are getting all those opportunities because you're just not there. And as soon as we start getting you in there, your phone's going to start to light up and those leads are going to start to come in. And again, if you want to go from 1 million to 2 million, then we just have to increase your visibility and then start driving more prospects in the top of funnel. And the place to do that is in Google because they own 90% of the search market.
That makes sense. That's very well done.
You know, what was that? That was 15 to 20 minutes max.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
So we can, you know, I didn't go through every single slide. You know, if they ask questions, I might go back to this slide or I might go to that slide. You know, but you know, ultimately, all I'm doing here in this presentation with the prospect is I am, number one, demonstrating that I'm an expert, demonstrating that I know with confidence what they need. And I'm being confident with them that if they want to grow their business, then they got to stop getting their ass kicked by their competitor and start investing in their brand and their web presence. And by doing so, it absolutely will transform their business.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So what would you respond to a question like, well, I need to know the backlinks, the place where you're going to put the backlinks, all these different things. What's your response to something like that?
So I'm a client, a potential prospect, and I'm looking at having my bathroom and my kitchen remodeled. That's like me asking you, what kind of nails are you going to use and screws are you going to use in my remodel? Okay, I understand the question, but if I'm going to be that kind of client for you, right, where I'm going to be wanting to know the brand and the thread and, you know, all the different ins and outs of the screws and the nails and the wood and where it was treated and with what, you know, like I'm trusting you to be the expert. We're the experts.
Yeah.
In general, we're going to be getting you links on authoritative news sites. In more specifics, once we engage, you'll start getting reports on where some of these news sites and other links are. But that's, you know, an answer to your question. But I want to underscore it by saying, You're paying us to be the experts, not to. If you're so focused on where we're getting links, then you're not able to do your real business. If you want to double your business, you need to be focused on sales and delivering a 5-star experience to the customers so that you can keep getting new reviews and growing, not trying to figure out what type of nails we're using in your SEO campaign.
There we go. There we go. Annihilated. That was great. Yeah.
If you know you're the doctor, if you know you're the lawyer,
Yeah.
right? Like, do you go to your doctor and then ask him, like, why are you prescribing? Like, no, like you go to the doctor for the expert. When they give you the prescription, you go get it fulfilled and you start taking it because you know that they've done the research and they know. That's why you're going there.
Right, right. No, good point. Very good point. Yeah. Super. Yeah, that clarifies a lot of the questions. I like it. It really helps explain it. So that is really, yeah, really helpful. And so the services you have on your website there, it's pretty straightforward. Obviously, just go in and fill out the information, get the form filled out, like purchase the product, and
yep.
So,
Add the cart. Like right now, I have something in the cart here just because I was doing a demo with somebody else. So yeah, I've got an entry level, SEO campaign in my cart. I could go in here and I could add, say I wanted to add PPC as well because they wanted to go ahead and launch, SEO and PPC. So I could sign up now. I go back to my cart and now I've got SEO and PPC. I go to checkout and pay. And as soon as I pay, our system gives you an order number. You're just going to copy that order number to your clipboard and then come over here and fill out the appropriate form or forms for what you just paid for. Okay. Once we get payment plus the form, we get everything we need in this form to launch a campaign. There's nothing that we need that's deficient. Yes, there's going to be a few other things that we'll need, but everything we need to launch the campaign are in these forms.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. And so there was another question I had. So with a sign-up fee, okay, so generally, so I'm trying to wrap this around. My experience is more in the Facebook ad side. With this, is there generally a bit of an evaluation that you do, a bit of an audit for SEO that's kind of with the sign-up fee? Like I'm just wondering, is the SEO sales cycle, is that kind of similar to Facebook ads where obviously you want to kind of see where we're going with everything, but do you need to kind of do an audit on that? And like in many cases, there'd be an audit done and then we get back to the customer, like, this is what we see, this is what we're going to be doing, right? What I'm saying is I don't feel like I'm qualified to do an audit for the SEO. And so, yeah, that's why.
I'm gonna qualify you as an expert to do SEO here in just a second, just to stand by, all right?
Fair enough.
So real quick on the sign-up fee, this is really just a month one fee, but in order to set up the subscription properly for months 2 and beyond, WooCommerce just forces me into this type of setup or arrangement, and they don't allow me to say setup fee or month one fee. It just is called a sign-up fee. So, so just FYI on that. So all that first month, we just have extra costs and expenses and setup and all that, and that's how we account for that. Okay.
Okay, fair enough.
As far as like the audit, like the pre-sale audit, right? The only expertise you need is how to do Google searches, because if you find your prospect here, down here, they need SEO.
Yeah.
Okay. What now? The specifics that what an audit will reveal are kind of that next layer, right? But like you can find anybody who needs our help by simply finding them on page 2 and beyond, because whatever the reasons are, we'll figure those out, and they're always going to be the same. They have a weak website and they have a weak Google listing. I mean, at the high level, like if I just spare it all away, I can get into all the different things on their website that I could audit and point out to them. I can get all into their Google listing and find out a bunch more things there. And then, or overall, we can just say their web presence is weak.
Right. Right.
Because web presence breaks down into their Google listing, their website, their reviews, their directory listings that they have around their business that might be out there on yellow pages or wherever, right? But all of that as an aggregate is deficient.
Right. Yeah.
And it's usually across all things, all categories, all components. It's not just going to be a weak Google listing or just a weak website. It's going to be a little bit of everything combined.
That's fair. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. I love that you're simplifying it that much.
And like, why, like if you ask, sometimes they'll go, well, why is LMF or LFM or Rock and Remodeling 26 reviews and 35 reviews? Well, look at Van Rossum with 40. Well, look at Together with 69. Well, look at New Creations with 71. Well, look at Power Home with 1.2. Well, because reviews aren't the only thing about your web presence. In fact, as we can see here, if it was just reviews, well, then Power Home would be clearly the number one, but they're not. They're way down in the second or third page. Why is that? Because the other signals around their brand, around their company, and we know there's many, right? It's a slide here. The other signals are weaker, and in the competitors who are outranking them, who have less reviews, they're way more powerful in these other categories, and that's why they're outranking somebody who has 1,000 reviews versus 30.
Right. Yeah.
That question comes up a lot. Well, I have 100 reviews, and my competitors in the number one spot only has 5 or whatever, 10 or whatever. Well, that's because your reviews are only one piece of your web presence. Yes, they're important, but they're not. It's not mutually exclusive. All these other things about your web presence that are a consideration for Google, and in one way, shape, or form, our audit reveals that you're weak in many of these different areas. You're deficient in many of these areas. Your website needs work. It's not, the foundation is weak. You got some cracks in the foundation, right? And I'm telling you this because, Jason, that's about as specific as I would get with a prospect. Like, I'm not going to go give them all the things that I found wrong for free.
Yeah, exactly. No.
I'm showing you, look, you're on page 2 or page 3. Do we agree? Yes. Okay. And if I'd had to, like, well, what can you point out to anything? Like, what's weak? Well, okay, let me go down to your website and let's go to Together, because they got 69 reviews, but they're way down on page 1. I go out to their website and actually, let me do this. Together. Yeah, let me open up a new window, tab. So I go out to their website and start to look and see what I can find, Now, I would have done this ahead of the meeting, but so I had a couple of things that I might show and look at that, but one of the things is, I always do is I go and inspect view page source, and I would just look and see if there's anything in here for schema. So they're using Yoast. All right, so Yoast schema is really bad. Like, the Yoast plugin is not something that we recommend. It leaves a footprint, and it's known to slow down the site. It's got lots of bloat in it, but they've only got basically organizational schema, it looks like, on their website. Now, let me just see if they've got the same schema on every page. I'm gonna nod my head yes, because I can guarantee you it's the same schema on every page. Let's go back here. Let's go to our services page. There you go. Okay, it's a different page, but they got the same schema on every single page of their website. That is a big no-no. Why? Because schema is meant to give Google specific information about that page. So you're telling me that you're telling Googlebot in the schema markup of your website that every page is identical.
Right.
Before it even gets into the content, in the header of your page, you're saying, hey, this is the same as the other page you just crawled. Right? Okay, that's game over for SEO. Like, you're trying to automate this, and so whoever implemented this just doesn't know. But that's like a major issue. And I'm like, I hesitate to give that to you because that's so valuable, like to even tell you that, because that's like, the old story of like, you call a plumber over because the water heater stopped working. He comes over, he inspects it, and he taps taps twice on the backside of the water heater, and it starts working again. And he gives you a bill for $400, and you're like, well, what's that for? Yeah, the $300 was for the 10 years of expertise to help me know where to tap. Right.
Right.
Okay, it took me 2 minutes to show you the schema on your website is wrong. Yeah. But what's the compensation for the 10 years it took me to figure out how to do that and why that's important, right? So I gave you that as some free advice just to demonstrate that we know what we're doing. We're going to fix your website, but we don't got to get into what kind of nails and what kind of screws we're using and all of that. We are experts. We will fix this problem for you if you hire us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Super.
The next question is, well, how much is it going to cost? I'm glad you asked that. Let's talk about that. Okay. Well, that's the question you want, right?
Exactly.
So how do we get started and how much is going to cost? Like, can we get a proposal? Mm-hmm. I mean, if you do this presentation, like we kind of like we just went through, that will be the question. They're going to ask for if nothing else, they're going to ask for a proposal and for you to lay out what it's going to cost. They may not that's not going to be maybe the firm decision to say yes at that point yet, but the only purpose of this presentation is for them to say, what's this going to cost? When can we get a proposal? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. As long as you get that, and that's a yes, for this presentation. That's a success.
True. Super. Yeah, that helps me understand it a lot better myself, and especially to be able to present that. So
one more thing there. Oftentimes there is like, one more thing. I got one more question. Like, how do I know how are we going to get a return on our investment? Like, how do we know? Well, I'm glad you asked that. All right. So how many, what is one customer worth to you as a remodeling company?
Well, I'd say probably
50 grand, right? All right. So let's just say it's 20 grand, but let's just say it's a $20,000 job. That's not even your net. That's your gross. What's your net? Let's work off of your net. Well, we're running on a 30%, 40% margin. Fair enough. Let's take 6 grand. So on the low side, conservatively, each new customer that you convert is worth $6,000 to you. Is that correct? Yeah. All right. And you remember this slide here, right? 60 to 70%. All right. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to look at kitchen remodel. All right. So there's 135,000 searches per month in Google. Now that may not be 100% in Austin, but just, here in Austin, there's hundreds of searches just for kitchen remodel. Then I got kitchen remodel Austin. Well, that's a very specific one. That one gets 590. So, all right, let's just take this one search. We know there's many keywords, right? Your question is, am I going to get an ROI on this? All right. And we can say confidently that you're going to get 60%. You're going to get, 590 searches a month. Let's just say you're showing up here on page 1, which means you're one of these 3. Okay. Well, let's take 60% of 590. What is that? Right. So I'm going to do the math here real quick. Let's just do the math, right? So 590 times 60%. That's 354 searches where you're going to be right here, and they're going to make one. Let's just say you only get a third, right? So let's times that by 33%, because the other 2 competitors are going to get the other third, right? So now you're getting 116 phone calls a month. Okay. Now, what did you say your conversion rate was currently? Out of every phone call that you get inquiry about a remodel? Well, if we just take our 100 inquiries, we're going to convert at least 20% of those. Okay. All right. So 116 times 20%. That's 23 new jobs a month. Just from one keyword search. You said that the average job for you is net $6,000. That's $140,000 per month.
There we go. Basically, show them the value.
If they don't ask the question, sometimes point it out. Because that gets them to open up the checkbook. They know it, but sometimes you just got to hear it and see the math go play itself out, right? Yeah. So I just did this with you live. Like, I'm showing you live that gets 590 searches a month. That is a specific keyword for your area, right? So if we just forget all the other keyword variants, there's dozens of them, right? We just take one search out of your area and we say, we're going to get you to page 1 for that search. That's going to be worth over $100,000 a month in new business to you. Are you willing to spend $5,000 a month with me to make $100,000 a month in your business? Net. We're using net figures, not gross.
Yeah. Yeah. Then it's absolutely no issue. Sure, I'd have my $5,000.
Right. And remember, I just said, this is a process, not an event. So to get to 100K in a month in new business net, it's going to take us 6 to 12 months. So you're going to have that lead time of investment before we start to really see the ROI, because it's the process, not an event. So don't expect these new leads to be coming in the second or third or fourth month. It's going to take 3 to 6 months for us to start to really move you all the way to page 1. You're on page 5 for this keyword right now. We got to move you from page 5 to page 4 to page 3 to page 2 to page 1, so on. So that's the decision here is, am I willing to invest for 6 months at $5K a month? Am I willing to invest $30K for the opportunity to start making $100K per month in recurring off of one keyword? There's so much more here, right? I'm just, this is so over the top from an ROI standpoint. It's not even funny. I'm just using one keyword just to help you understand the ROI is all there and then some in the remodeling space.
No, that makes a lot of sense. And so now one more question regarding back to your website there. So for the SEO, I noticed you have 3 different packages. Now, how do you know which one you would essentially what the customer needs, right? Like that I don't sell the highest plan when actually in reality he would need that, or the other way around. So
in SEO, more content, more activity, more signals, more links, more is always better as long as it's quality. So we're never going to sacrifice quality in any of these. So if we say quality is going to be equal, regardless, more is going to be better, without any doubt. What we're doing here is we're doing 1 unique article per month here, 1 unique article per month here. These are different. I'll explain how in a second, but these both each get 1 unique article per month. This gets 3 unique articles per month. This gets 5 unique articles per month. With each article that we produce each month, we can focus 1 article on 1 topical keyword, theme, or business category. We don't want to write about kitchen remodeling and bathroom remodeling in the same article. That mixes keyword themes, that dilutes relevancy and minimizes results.
Right.
So if the client has more than 1 keyword, theme, or business category that they want to rank for, then they need to be in one that has like 3 or 5 articles per month.
Okay. Yeah.
Otherwise, we're going to be diluting everything we do and spreading that very thin across multiple keyword themes at 1 article per month. So this month we can do kitchen remodeling. Next month we do bathroom remodeling. Next month we do home remodeling, and then we switch it again and go back. Well, that means that each quarter, 1 keyword theme is only getting 1 article. That's not enough, really. That's very little, right? And so that's part of the equation. So more is better if they have the budget.
Okay. Sorry, you weren't done there yet.
So the other dynamic in here is, let's say they have more than 1 Google listing. They have more than 1 location, right? But let's say they have 2 locations. It's a remodeling company. They have 2 locations, 1 in North Austin, 1 in South Austin. But they have 1 website. They share a website.
Okay.
I would say on that type of situation, each location should get at minimum the entry level, right? They're going to get 1 article per month per location, because each location is going to be its own Google listing, its own ranking in its own area, right? And so when you have a separate Google listing, or you have multiple Google listings, each Google listing needs its own campaign per se.
Yeah. That's fair.
The difference here is, here it's a kind of a full-blown SEO campaign. Here we're not doing the same setup in month 1 because we're just working on such a small budget. So what we really do here is we jump out of the gate with an article per month in month 1, and then we will start to do some of the setup items later as we go. depending on what's needed and what we feel like will best work for that campaign. We're just working on a lower budget, so we're just going to do one article per month. We're going to optimize it. We're going to send it out as a press release, and then we're also going to syndicate it as a blog article, and then we're going to do some CTR, human traffic emulation around it.
Okay.
So
yeah.
I would only do the starter package if they're just on an extreme budget, like $500 a month. Because this package allows you to come in at $750 in month one and $500 a month in months 2 and beyond, and you're doubling your money still.
Right.
But at $500 a month, it's basic stuff.
Okay, and yeah, you're saying you're syndicating it out to the news outlets, essentially, like getting that all done. And then as far as that the app that you're talking about, the what was it called, the blog list of blogs, it does a lot of different things there, I think, regarding adding the location for the website and all that into the website, that you're saying is included with this. You talked about that on the sales aspect there.
Yeah, the media room.
The media room. Yeah, what does that run, say, for my clients? Is that another addition to on top of that? Is that's something that's
included? That's included in all of our services, all of our SEO campaigns.
And then once, say, they stop, the subscription ends, then that's retracted and taken out of their website again.
Yep.
Okay, so essentially they get the advantage as long as they stick with you.
Right, that's what you want, right?
That's exactly what you want. Yeah. Okay.
You want that stickiness as an agency. And the way that this should be positioned is that's why I said we're introducing an enterprise media room, like website technology, into your website. We're going to host it. We're going to manage it. There are companies that are charging $15,000 a year just to have, a media room that they host, manage, and maintain for you, right? So we're going to introduce this new website technology in this media room. We'll host it, maintain it for you.
Okay. Is there? Yeah, exactly.
They stop paying you, you stop hosting and maintaining everything.
Fair enough. Yeah. And but essentially that disappears off their website. It's not just not maintained, it's gone, right?
Yeah, like disappears.
Yeah. Is there any, like, I'm just curious here, just even for my own information on understanding about it, is there any kind of a package that you have that's like, okay, just pay us this and then it stays up there? Like,
sure, you can do that.
Like,
yeah, you can do that. We're building that into our software for a future release. We're going to have an app that is literally going to be like a brand hosted, brand assets hosting app. The customer will go into the app. They'll set up their own billing for hosting all of this and maintaining all of it. And that way, if they ever cancel with you, this all still stays live and you'll get a piece of that monthly maintenance and hosting that they're paying through the app. Okay. But that way it'll never go down as long as you want to keep it up.
Yeah.
And they're going to be paying $100 a month to keep it up.
Yeah. No, that's fair. That's awesome. Yeah. Love it. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time and kind of running me through some of this.
My pleasure.